narcissist. We're going to be talking about some of the traits, and we're just going to relax and enjoy the conversation in regards to women who are narcissists. And what motivated me to do this show today is because, as usual, there's this kind of energetic climate right now where there's a lot of subjects that are being brought up um that was hidden before, or people really didn't talk about it because it was embarrassing, or it just you just didn't want to put it out there. People's minds, their energies and their thoughts, it was in a different direction. But it seems that these days, I guess life is getting tough. um Information is out here, so a lot of people are becoming aware of situations that they may be facing, and they're able to actually put two and two together and tune into different shows and read different information that almost gives them like a sense of peace, to know that they're not crazy or there's not something wrong with them, that they're going through this. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about women narcissism. What I wanted to say was that I believe that a lot of men, for some reason or another, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of men out there who know about women who are narcissists, but I think a lot of times, this, especially when we're talking about men, I think a lot of times we believe that, you know, well, not we, well, I believe that men believe that when a woman is like fucked up, they automatically put like that particular female in the bucket with all the females, and they label them. So let's say, for instance, um they may label women as, let's say if you're a single mother, then they'll put like, just because this woman's a single mother, they'll put her in the bucket with the women who are narcissists, who are also single mothers, and they will label them as having the same characteristics, if you understand what I'm talking about. So, like, for instance, like they would put out a message and say, well, if this woman's a single mother, automatically don't date her because she's going to be doing this, this, and that. She's going to do that and that and this. And, she's just going to be an all around fucked up individual because she's had children by whatever man and things didn't work out, and now she's a single mother. So stay away from her, because if you do, then this woman who's a narcissist, who's also a single mother, is going to do some fucked up shit, and you're not going to be able to recover, and it's just going to be those stories about men being on child support, you know men going through all this hell because they were connected to a woman who was a narcissist, who they didn't identify as a narcissist, but they identified her by putting her in this big group, and just putting them in these big large groups and labeling them, and then believing that all women that fit that profile or have narcissistic traits, if you know what I'm saying. So I think, like I said, I think a lot of men, they don't really understand that not every woman is fucked up. Okay? Not every woman is gonna go out there and play you. Not every woman is gonna be a snake. Not every woman is gonna try to take you for your money. Not every woman is gonna want to see you down, or not, boost you up to be the productive man that you're supposed to be. There's women out there that are not fucked up like that. And there is women out there that are fucked up like that. There's actually women out there who are on a mission. they're on a mission, okay? And their mission is they're, a natural romantic. And it's not that they want to quite escape their own life for love. These types of women, okay, these types of women that I'm about to describe to you right now are extremely destructive. They're on a mission, okay? They're on a mission to go after some guy and wreck his life for them, okay? These narcissistic women have been recently betrayed themselves by maybe unfaithful men that has, probably caused them a wound. And that wound is so raw and so alive that instead of them taking time out to address those wounds, to go for counseling, to seek spiritual healing, to find out who they are for themselves, these women are on a very hungry mission to go out there and get connected with other men so they can seek revenge on whatever the situation is, so they can feel good in a way that they were able to get, let's say, a married man to sacrifice his situation to restore her sense of power. Okay? There's women out there that are like that. And I'm sure that, if you're listening to this broadcast, the unfortunate thing is you probably met a few women like this, if not one. And these types of women, for whatever reason, they have no sense of empathy inside. They don't think about other people who may be involved in the situation that they are trying to pretty much spin a web around the man, and he will be caught in her web, and she would be like Spider Woman, who will be sacrificing this man for his blood to restore her sense of power. So these types of women, okay, pretty much they feel a sigh of relief from their pain of having their own marriage betrayed, or having their relationships, not go through as planned, engagements called off. It could be a situation where she got played. So now, instead of her getting betrayal on the man who did it to her, or, address the situation, her mission is to inject herself into a situation where they will experience the same type of betrayal. And once that betrayal is injected, that's how she gets the sense of power. Okay? And you got to understand, these types of narcissistic women are very, very envious of women who have husbands who may be faithful and loving to them. Okay? And sometimes it is clear, or, sometimes it is clear that, the situation is okay, but she feels that she deserves, see, that's that narcissistic ego of feeling like the narcissist feels like they deserve to feel and experience everything good, and everybody else shouldn't experience it. So when you're dealing with the situation where a female feels like she deserves, everybody else should not be experiencing it, she doesn't give a fuck who's involved. She doesn't give a fuck, what has to happen, as long as she gets what she needs, as long as she feels that she got what she deserved. She could give two fucks about anybody else. But the thing is, once she is able to actually take on that persona and get exactly what she wants, unfortunately, the man is now confused because he's not sure if this narcissistic woman that he pretty much sacrificed everything for, he's not sure if she wants to be or replace the happy wife that he had to make the ex-wife miserable because she is now in the place of the new wife. This is narcissism on that seductive level. Okay. Um the good thing about this spiritual damage, which will be a spiritual damage that will come after this, is that not soon thereafter, the narcissistic woman will turn around and start to blame her fiance or her new husband for not seeing that originally she was just depressed because of something that her father did, or something that her ex-fiance did, or some type of situation that she went through that she wasn't able to heal, and now it's all his fault. Or she'll start to go into stories and she'll start to explain to her lover that her father disappeared long ago and her mother had been remarried two or three times, and she wasn't stable, so she will blame him for that. And the reason why the blame will come up is because narcissists, when you're dealing with the clinical diagnosis, not the, homemade, I think it is, I think it's not. No, we're talking about the clinical diagnosed narcissist. These people are not very fit for marriage. They're not fit for long-term relationships. These types of people are good for like one night stands, flyby relationships, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe 6 months. A year is really, you really made if you made it to a year. These are the type of people that are good for those types of relationships. And I don't even think that the narcissists themselves even realize that. I don't think they realize that they are not fit for long-term committed relationships with people who, really don't have time for games and start building with you and start making a future. And, there's things that they want to pretty much lay down as a good foundation. They don't have time to play willy-nilly games with people. They don't have time for it. They don't have time because money is involved. Businesses will soon be created. Strong partnerships, successful partnerships, with communications with certain types of individuals, all of those will be bonded, and they would be solid. So any kind of games, any kind of willy-nilly, nobody got time for that. So just give me a few seconds. Yeah, so nobody really has time for that. But when you're dealing with a woman who's a narcissist, she doesn't see that. She doesn't see the long term. She doesn't see it towards the future. She's all about going to the bar, hanging out, partying, acting like a teenager, not giving a fuck, holding people back, just interfering, not stable, all over the place, risky. This type of woman, unfortunately, she expects just the average person or somebody who's not on that willy-nilly kind of level, she expects them to marry her. Expects them to desert their own children and now raise her now fatherless kids. And it will just be happily ever after. These people really live in Wonderland. And, I believe that they live in Wonderland like that is because, they do have a good job and a great resume in regards to pleasing every man that they've met. Okay. Maybe having a good choice of men in variety of different positions. They may have positioned themselves in life where they were able to live their dreams, enjoy themselves without commitment and the demands of having a partner who may expect certain things in a committed relationship. This type of woman who pretty much did whatever she wanted to do doesn't understand that once you're in a committed relationship, there is certain types of responsibilities, that you kind of like want to try to work with and not against and not be a pushbacker. Okay. And you know what? To be honest with you, when I started looking into narcissism and as much as you want to look at it like it's a male thing and women are not narcissists, the truth of the matter is, especially in these times that we're living in right now, we have, the internet, we have social media, we have dating websites, we have Instagram, we have Snapchat, we have YouTube, we have you name it, we got it. Okay. And there's a lot of different portals, I should say, that anybody can interject themselves in and instantly start creating whatever they imagine with a laundry list of men to choose from. And some would say when you have that laundry list of men that you can choose from, that's a good thing because it gives you options, which is true. But when does it get to the point? When does it ever end? How long is this list going to be? And if you're concentrating on a laundry list of variety of different men, are you ever going to get to know anybody on an intimate level, on a respectable level, where you're now trying to have more of a good conversation instead of this laundry list of pleasing different varieties of men and having a badge of honor that you could spread it wide while they lay it down low? Okay. Messing around with a woman narcissist, unfortunately, as much as we like to fluff it up and make it seem all pretty and dainty and all that, the truth of the matter is these women can be kind of dangerous. Um, because they may put men who are not stable and calm enough to handle the sexual climate that she often puts out. Okay. Um and it is true that some females, they desire the male connection just as much as the men desire the women connection. And the problem is when a woman is connected to a man on that level, um it's different from a man because they said, sometimes men, they can go around and they can do their thing and not be connected and not never give a fuck and never call you again. The difference between that and a man is that if a female gets herself involved with, these short stays or, whatever, in some way or fashion, she can start to connect and start to fall in love. And that could be kind of risky because if, she's in a relationship already, if she's in a committed relationship, and just going back to what I was saying, the unfortunate part about it is that a lot of women narcissists, I'm not going to say they're not going to be, good for the long term, but, on the short term, I think they're perfect. Perfect partners to be with. Because they like that excitement, they like that newness, they often get bored fast, you know what I mean? They're miserable all the time. They want, they want the stimulation consistently. So if they're in a committed relationship and they're a narcissist and they always want that, that sense of newness, seeking attention all the time as much as she's getting it through social media, you know, on the long term, she may not be able to receive all that attention from her partner who may be out there doing his thing because he's successful and he's not going to have enough time to coddle her all day. So if she has these situations with somebody who's new and things happen, she may form some type of connection with the other guy as well. And when you're dealing with that type of situation where, she's willing to, form a connection with the new guy, even though she's already married or has children or whatever the situation is, you know, eh, the funny part about what I've researched is that if a woman is a narcissist and she's in a situation like this, it's much different when you're dealing with the man who's a narcissist. Like I said, both is fucked up. No matter how you look at it, both is fucked up. But when you're dealing with a woman who's a narcissist and, she's in that kind of climate of getting connected with a man that was supposed to be a one night stand and she's in a committed relationship, the difference between a man and a woman narcissist, and we're talking about women narcissism right now, is she may be more concerned with the impact of her affair on the children than the effect on her mate. And see, that's the difference between women who are narcissists and men who are narcissists. Because, and I'm not saying, like I said, no one is better than no one, because it's all fucked up no matter how you look at it. Everybody's fucked up behind these narcissists. Okay, they do a lot of damage that nobody could see, and it's an ongoing study. And it's an ongoing study, video after video, book after book, blog after blog, talk after talk, chat after chat, post after post. Because it's like these people, like I said before, it's some type of demonic energy with this kind of narcissism. Because, I mean, it never stops. It continues to go. And even though, they understand that at some point their actions is going to cause pain and separation and disconnection and lack of trust, betrayal, you name it. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose time with these idiots. For some reason or another, they don't see the long term. So anyway, like I said, it's an ongoing study. And that's why I believe that, narcissism, yeah, it's clinically diagnosed. Okay, whatever the doctor diagnoses you as, or the psychologist or whatever. Okay, they say you're a narcissist, about whatever. But I believe that narcissism has a lot to do with spirituality as well. Because the effects that it takes on people that last for a very, very long time is deep. And it's not even on the monetary level, it's not even on the financial level. This is more, deeper than that. Like I said in my other videos that I have, that if you're dealing with, narcissism, and I was mainly talking about women who are in relationships with men who are narcissists, and I was saying that, um, unfortunately, the impact could be so strong that the looks even start to change on the women. So, women, they may start to get like lines in their face, they may have frowns, um, they may really look beat down, they may look tired, they weren't as bright and sunny as they was when they first started the relationship. And I know, like I said before, I know people get older, I know people grow, and I know whatever, whatever. But I believe that all the emotional stress that certain people are under, it does take a toll on you in some way or another. You're not as energetic when you're fighting it on the spiritual level, because you always have questions in your mind. You're always trying to figure out, what have I done? What could I have done better? Where did I go wrong? Why didn't I see this? What took me so long? It's all this. It's just a breakdown. So not only does it affect you on the physical and the financial level, but on the emotional and the spiritual level, it takes an effect. And a lot of people are not addressing this. This is not just something physical, this is spiritual. It fucks everybody up. And like I said, when you're dealing with the man who's a narcissist, he may do his thing, go out there, do his thing, come back, no big deal. He's like, fuck you, you better deal with it, shut the fuck up, whatever. But when you're dealing with a woman who's a narcissist and she gets herself in this situation, it's different. Okay, because a man who's a narcissist, he may be an asshole and be like, you know what, fuck everybody, I'm out, I don't give a fuck about you or the kids. I'm like, jumping on my ship and I'm going on with my new wife and whatever. But a woman narcissist is different. And it's different and dangerous to the point where I'm about to talk about some stuff which I didn't make up. Okay, I totally did not make it up. I researched it and I found it out. And it's saying here that yeah, so it's saying here that women may be more concerned with the impact of their affairs on their children than they are on their mates. So once they start to get themselves in a situation, they don't give a fuck about their mates anymore. A man narcissist, he may still kind of give a fuck. Kinda. Okay. But a woman is likely to fill the children with being supportive of her affair, not the man narcissist. That's the difference. See, the woman narcissist expects the children to support her while she's lying, cheating, conniving, and do whatever kind of sneaky shit on the low, low, low. The man narcissist, on the other hand, he thinks differently now. He knows, okay, the children may not be supporting me with this bullshit because, I'm fucking their mother up anyway on the emotional level. And now if they know I'm fucking her up, they're probably not going to support me. So a man and a woman narcissist are different when it comes down to this aspect. And, when you're dealing with the woman narcissist, see, a man narcissist, he's going to hide his own secrets and lies because he's already fucked up in the game. He can't let nobody know how deep he is. But a woman narcissist, the difference with her now is that, she may involve them too much, in this situation. And it causes a big effect when you're dealing with a woman narcissist on this level. Okay. She may involve them by, relaying messages, like she may want them to relay messages to her, vice versa. She may have the children keep secrets, tell lies for her about where she's going, things like that. And when you're putting children in a situation, see, this is the difference between women narcissism and a man narcissism. I hope you're seeing it now. It's a big difference. Okay. So when you're dealing with a woman who's the narcissist on this level, it could be extremely mind-blowing, seductive, and even confusing to the kids. Because sharing the secret of one parent having an affair and hiding it from another parent, it is said that it is essentially the same emotional impact as incest. That's the difference between women narcissists and men who are narcissists. Now, could you imagine, something that at first seemed like it was no big deal? Okay, you had an affair, you did whatever you were doing. Okay, it's done. But then now you don't give a fuck about your mate and you're involving children in this web. And it's so fucking deep to the point that it feels like incest. That's sick. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is how it is when you're dealing with this kind of disorder. That it gets this fucking deep when it didn't have to get this deep from the jump. If you just kept it real. If you're bored, if you're unsatisfied, if you can't last, if you can't hang, if you ain't about shit, if you want to be a hoe, just let people know. I gotta go and be out. But don't incorporate everybody in the bullshit to the point where people feeling some kind of way because you want to play. These mind fucking games that narcissists play. A lot of mind games. And you know what? Narcissists, they're all about lies. All about lies. It's one lie after the next lie after the next lie, and it's lies and lies and just lies all over the place. And once you start lying and everybody's lying and children are lying and it's all this kind of seduction, all these secrets, that don't feel good. It's fucked up. It's mind blowing. It's seductive and it's confusing for everybody. And then people feel crazy and they're like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Are people about to get sacrificed? Are children about to get abandoned? What's going on? All this for what? All of this for what? Because you feel like you're romantic, you're sexy, and you need attention? See, like I said, I was listening to a show today, and the man, he was going off on women. He was going off on them. And he just had his little profile. He said, okay, this is the woman. If she looks like this, if she got this going on and this, don't fuck with her. He put every woman in that bucket, not realizing that, hey, not every man is a narcissist, just like not every woman is a narcissist. And just because this woman was fucked up and she purposely held her man back in life and she didn't want him to do good, all she wanted him to do was sit around and kiss her ass all day, that ain't every woman. And you might just be very well dealing with a narcissist. And you know what? It's fucked up. You know what I realized? I realized now that a lot of people are actually dealing in are actually experiencing, or in some way or another, they're in relationship with, or they're working with, or their parents are, or their friend is, something is around them that is very narcissistic. And, these people are just labeling everybody as a narcissist, or everybody is a fucked up individual in that aspect, not realizing that this is, you know, narcissism is not something that people are born with. Narcissism, unfortunately, is a disorder, and it's a dysfunction that, unfortunately, a lot of people may have experienced some type of trauma at a young, stage in their life, where, it could have been some type of sexual molestation that the woman may have went through, when she was younger, or she may have had a relationship with her father that was inappropriate. It could be some type of emotional drama that she may have witnessed, her parents going through at a very young age. Or, again, dealing with the female again, again, if it has something to do with, some type of sexual abuse. When you're a female at a very tender age in your life and you go through that trauma, because it's trauma, it's not pleasing, it's trauma, it changes a woman. And 99.9% of the time, it's probably going to be not for the better after that experience. So once that, exchange happens and she experiences such trauma in her life that she was not able to explain, maybe not tell anybody about, or, haven't really actually sat down and dealt with it yet, it will and it does change a person. Not giving excuses on why destructive behavior against self and others is excusable, but it does make sense why, this woman may be who she is at that moment in the narcissistic position. It's very disturbing. This whole narcissism thing is not a joke. It's really serious. A lot of people are just in pain every day of their lives, trying to cope, trying to deal, trying to come to a better understanding as to what they've probably been through, what they're going through, how they should continue to go through it, or how to it's so many different spectrums to this. It's a damaging effect. But when you see how damaging it is on the victim or the person who is dealing with a narcissist, you have to go back and try to figure out, okay, well, I'm going through this amount of damage with this narcissist, but what happened to the narcissist that will like form this kind of being to continue to cause pain and hurt onto others with the lack of empathy? Why is empathy so low on the Richter scale when you're dealing with a narcissist? Why don't they give a fuck sometimes? Because you got to be a person who don't give a fuck if you're doing some shit like this. You can't give a fuck. Okay? So you have to wonder, like, why doesn't this person give a fuck? Can't they put themselves in my shoes? Can't they understand the pain that I'm going through? Don't they know what they've done or what they're doing? Not realizing that it was trauma that that narcissist went through at a very early age, most likely. And it caused them to continuously be tricky through their everyday dealings with people. Everything is tricky with them. Everything is insecure. Everything is not sure. Everything is unstable. Everything is just never solid. And then then you figure, okay, this is where this is coming from. Some type of trauma that the person went through in their younger life that formed them into this person where they're just not trustworthy of anybody, not even to themselves. Um, I am not going to even continue on. The narcissism thing, like I said, is to the point where I don't even know if it's ever going to be capped off with the information that is being told out there. Because this kind of energy, it seems like it continues to go on and on and on. And it's so many different flavors, so many different connections when you're dealing with this kind of energy that you don't really know the cookie cutting way of how to solve this problem. It's really deep, guys. It is really, really deep. And, for men who are dealing with narcissistic women, I don't even understand how they get through it. I'm sure it's very hard for them. I'm sure at times men who are dealing with narcissistic women, they feel like, they're foolish. And, they're in love with this woman and, they just don't understand why all of this. Why be willing to like abandon your children just to prove your love to a recent affair? Why not support me when I'm trying to build a business just because you're selfish? Why not help me come up with an idea? Why not, be my partner? And why can't we grow? Why is it so important to hang out and party and act like a child? Let me tell you about a story really quickly before I end this broadcast. I knew of a man, and he was with this woman for a very, very long time. And I believe she's a narcissist. She hasn't been clinically diagnosed. I don't think they went to a doctor or whatever. But she has the characteristics of a woman who's a narcissist. This is the type of woman who has children, very young children. But for some reason or another, she's never been able to, I wouldn't say, because, it's so nowadays everything is so delicate. Like, we can't say play the position as a woman because then, feminists are going to come after you, or we can't really say, like, not do it because then other people are going to come. It's just like, it's never a balance with anything when you're communicating anymore. But going back to the olden days when there was balance and it is what it is and it was what it was, women kind of played that role and they were like really, I wouldn't say proud, but they were okay with, you know, being in a relationship where they took care of their children and they weren't trying to spread it wide online and not give a fuck about if the kids ate or not. They just didn't have those kind of women back in those days. And if they did, I mean, people looked down upon them, and they didn't really have an outlet like they do today to be seen, to, receive all that supply that narcissistic women seek. They want that. So you have a lot of women these days who are taking their time out and away from the family to do her thing so she could be seen, so she could receive the narcissistic supply that a man that she's in a relationship can't give her. So anyway, going back to the story, this woman has children or whatever. And he's been complaining that, she goes to bars and he can't control her. And it's, sometimes she goes to bars to the point where she's not even making it back home until the next day. She's being dropped off by random men that she's saying that they're Uber, but he's not sure because she's sitting in the front. And it's just, he's dealing with that kind of energy. And he's been complaining, complaining, complaining. It was even to the point where I guess she felt like she was confined and she didn't really want to fuck with him like that or the kids. So one day she just packed up her shit and bounced. And she didn't return for about 6 months. And after all that, he took her back. Then another situation arose where he said he was at a party with a couple of people. It was a house party or whatever. It's like relatives or whatever. They're like good friends. And they were drinking. They were having a good time. And I guess he was drinking to the point where he was knocked out. And when he did wake up, he realized that the party was over and the house was quiet and his woman was not by his side. So he decided to get up and go look for his woman because it was time for them to go home. It was already late. People were already knocked out. The party's over. So he's looking and looking. The house is pretty big. And then I guess he said he was trying to use the bathroom. And then when he went to use the bathroom, she was in there in the dark with another man. And her excuse was she was on her way to use the toilet. So was the other man. And he happened to come in at the same time. And it was a coincidence that they all wanted to use the bathroom at the same time. And she wasn't doing anything in the dark with another man while he was in the house. So when you're dealing with this type of narcissistic women, the levels of disrespect, I believe, it can be increased more than the narcissistic man. Because the connection of emotion is so intoxicating that it's kind of hard to distinguish what the fuck you're doing right and what the fuck you're doing wrong and where the fuck you're going overboard. So you want to know what happened, right? Of course, an argument broke out, a fight broke out. And just like so many women who are in relationships with men who are narcissists, who continue to cheat on them and continue to just basically continue to play games on them because they feel like they're supposed to accept the games and not say nothing about it. He took her back. And she never changed. And even after all that, even after the maximum disrespect, because to me, that's maximum disrespect. That's like some top level disrespect. But even though, see, this is how you know you're dealing with a narcissist, because they never really know what the love, they don't know what disrespect is. They like, whatever, I did it, get over it. But even after all that, even after getting busted to that point, she didn't stop. still at the bars, still going on vacations when bills need to be paid, still going to the bar when there's a grandbaby in the house and the father needs some help. Just not caring, just not connecting to the children on that maternal level, and leaving it all on the man to connect, even though he doesn't really have the makeup for that. So that's why I said some women who are narcissistic can be dangerous, and they can kind of almost like fuck up um the profile of other women who don't fall in that category, of other women who are not like that. And unfortunately, there's certain circumstances that make them seem like that they're like that, but they're not like that. And then when you have men who don't understand the psychology, the information, they tend to put all women in a bucket and go around and shit on every woman, not realizing that there is just some women out there that are so fucked up that you need to be aware of. And if you're like so many women who are in relationships with men who are narcissists, if you're a man and you're dealing with this type of situation, which I know that, a man finding himself in this mind-blowing, disrespectful position can be harder for men to handle than women who would, a woman, she's in a relationship with a narcissistic man, due to the fact that he's a man, he could overpower her. So there's not so much shit that she can do. But like a man, it's different because you have that power and you've been disrespected and you're like, what? But at that time, it's time to chill out and, realize the person for who they are and know that they will never, ever, ever change. Ever, ever. Just like the information of narcissism, it goes on and on and on. That's how the narcissist will go on and never, ever, ever stop. So what do you do in that situation? So people, what do you do? How do you heal? How do you recover? And you know what? Instead of finding out about these people and listening to hours on end and video after video, reading books after books, lectures after lectures, questions after questions, I believe it is time to know and understand and feel the energy, recognize it for what it is, and see these people for who they are. Because I can tell you one thing, when you're dealing with a person who's a narcissist, their main goal is for you not to see them for who they are. For you to always be confused, for you to always be engulfed in lies and illusion and never seeing things clearly, never understanding the situation for what it is, never being told the truth. These people will not change. So it's time for people to heal and stop finding out about these people. I mean, it's good to know who they are, but when are people going to start to heal from this damage? And I believe that when you're a man and you're dealing with this, it's probably harder for men than women to even go to another man and let him know, look, my woman is out of control. She's out of line. She's not supportive. She's kind of crappy and she be leaving the kids on me. And I'm like mommy and daddy and one, and she's at the bar all the time. And bills need to be paid. She's always shopping. I mean, it's makeup everywhere, wigs everywhere. Men can't really go and tell other men that without feeling some type of disconnection in conjunction with manhood. So I believe the way to recover from this type of damage that nobody could see is to, reach out and, even if it's somebody, not, I wouldn't even say on a personal level, because this subject is so deep that I don't even think the average person, especially if they've never experienced narcissism, if they don't have any information, if they don't even know the start of it, they wouldn't understand the depthness of it. I believe the best thing to do is to, like, maybe reach out to somebody on the professional level, um and start coming out talking about it and releasing it, because I believe that not only does it take a physical toll on you sometimes, but even on the spiritual level, it takes a toll. And it could be a heavy burden to carry, especially if you have other things that you're dealing with, quote unquote, as a man. You're dealing with bills, you're dealing with stresses of life, you're dealing with protecting your family and things like that. Now you have to deal with this emotion. So I'm going to go ahead and end it really quickly. I hope we did get some type of understanding of women narcissists. And you know what? I just, it's so fucked up what's going on. So many people are affected, that I just hope one day, all of this can change around, and maybe, narcissists will take the time out and to the damage that they've caused others, and understand that they do need to change, because this is just not the way to live. All right, so thank you for listening, and we'll talk again.